Okay, we're here with actor Johnny Sibilly. Why don't you talk a little bit about when you first decided you wanted to become an actor and where you're born and raised, that kind of thing.
Okay. I first decided that I wanted to be an actor when I was in sixth grade. Oh, seventh grade, sorry. And I was in drama class and drama club and stuff like that. I always liked performing as a child, like many actors and performers. I used to do um, little shows at our after-school care. We would like write little plays and film each other and stuff like that. But when it became a little more professional and like readings and stuff like that, that's when I knew that this was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I grew up in in Germany, Texas, Miami, so I was bouncing around a little bit just because my parents were in the military. But I feel like it paved the way for what I wanted to do, just because there was always new people, new characters, new things I would encounter, and it's helped, I guess, in the long run. But yeah, ever since I was very, very young, I knew that performing was something that I loved to do.
And where did you go to school for? Did you go to school for theater?
No, not for
Or
theater in
drama?
general. I mean, I went to, in high school, it was like, all you could do was musical theater and,
Right.
theater, which was great. But when I was growing up, I always loved movies and watching movies and making home movies. And, I'd go to the playground with my sister and she'd just want to play on like the swings and I'd want to film it and like make like a scary movie out of it. And, but yeah, I did go to school for theater, middle school, high school, a little bit of college. Got accepted to a school in New York, but I didn't end up going. And I think to a certain extent it's helped me just because I feel like life experience is a big teacher. So yeah, but I didn't actually get any classical training, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you move back to the city to actually pursue your dream?
It was December 22nd, 2011. I moved here, and what got me thinking I needed to move was because I was working in Miami for a talent agency, and I would see all these kids go out on like castings and auditions, and I was like sending them out on these things, and I was thinking to myself, why am I not doing this for myself?
Right.
And Miami's more of a seasonal market. I mean, there's work there definitely, but one of my professors always told me in school, go to New York to get your experience, and then move to LA to do everything else. So I get that question a lot, like why New York? Especially because I do a lot more TV and film stuff, projects. People are like, why New York? Why not LA? I'm like, it's just a smaller market. It's I don't know. It's just where I am. I don't feel like there's any right way to do it. I just going with the flow. So I moved here and I just knew that I wanted to do it. It took me a little while because I was, you come to New York and it's like it's a big deal. So it took me a little while, but I haven't stopped since. So.
And now talk a little bit about your look. Obviously, you could pass for Hispanic and Greek and
Yeah.
Italian. Has that helped
Thank
you?
you.
Has that helped you in getting roles?
Yeah, the whole ethnically ambiguous thing I never even understood until I moved to New York, because in Miami most people are Latin, so I didn't feel very different. But coming here and realizing that I could play that, for the most part I'm pretty Anglo in my way of being. But I know that there's a part of me that is very Hispanic and has a lot of roots there. So it is nice to be able to play that and put on a little accent every now and then, pull from my Miami roots and stuff like that. But it is nice when people will stop me and be like, are you Arab? Or are you Jewish? Or, things like that. I'm like, no, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
said that
One more
because,
thing to
yeah,
add
yeah.
to the
So,
list of parts I can go out.
yeah, so it's been really great because I haven't only played Hispanic parts, which a lot of people feel like, they get typecast and stuff. I enjoy when I get typed into a Hispanic role just because growing up I never felt like the ethnic part, I guess.
And let's face it, you're just happy to be typed into a script,
Yeah,
right?
really, exactly.
You don't care
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
nationality.
hmm
So, talk a little bit about the work that you have done. I
Mhm.
know you're going to be in an episode of a new television series, Power, which comes out next year. So, why don't you talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about what you've done prior? Obviously, don't
Sure.
spoil too much.
No,
about
yeah. Power. I did Power most recently, like a couple weeks ago. I played this clerk. It wasn't like a huge role, but it was a big show, and it was with great directors and stuff like that. So it was professional work, and that's one of those things. Like I started off as background, and you keep doing it and you keep learning all these different things because when I did it I would like pay attention to what was going on set. So by the time you get to do something like Power, it's like you feel a little more professional, you know what's going on. I don't know exactly what happens in the episode, and obviously I would never divulge the information, but it was really cool to work with these actors and get their feedback, and just the professional crew and the makeup team, and just all these little intricacies that go into making a show is really what's most exciting for me as an actor at the end of the day, because the acting in TV and film is, I mean, it's probably like 10 minutes of the day, and then setting up and doing all of those other things are the rest of it. So you really have to want to be a part of the whole situation rather than just I want to be an actor in that. It's definitely a medium for a team rather than an actor's medium. But other things I've done, like I've done a lot of Discovery ID shows, which are like those reenactment shows. Those have been really cool just because, again, it teaches you how to be on set, all these things that you need to know if you want to be a professional actor, and little mistakes that you make, and in terms of acting, it does help when you don't have lines specifically. I mean, they give you lines, but a lot of times there's interviews over your acting. It helps to have that because it gives you different ways to go about the character and doing things like this. And a lot of people watch the Discovery ID network and those shows. I would tell my family, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to be on this show. And they're like, oh my God, I love that show. I'm like, oh. I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
In New York, I haven't really had cable for very long just because you're always working and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a great experience. I remember one of the things I did was with Susan Lucci. It was like one of the first projects I worked on. And it was like me, I grew up watching her, on All My Children. So it was like, here I am, this kid from Miami coming and working with Erica Kane, who's like huge, you know what I mean? But it just felt so natural, you know what I mean? And it was probably a lot more because she was just so easygoing. I had to massage her feet, which is, it's not it's not really something you usually think about when you think of one of my first acting jobs going to be.
Yeah.
Rubbing Susan Lucci's feet, and
Right.
she was so sweet. Even after we wrapped, I was done for the day, and it was time for lunch, and I was sitting in the corner because as a newcomer, you're just like, I'm just gonna not be seen. I'm gonna get in the corner, and she actually had someone come over and ask me to join her for lunch. So little things like that have really impacted me in pursuing this and not giving up, because it's like those little moments are so sweet, that you forget about. Because when you're a kid, you think about, oh, these could be the possibilities, and then when these things happen, it's like it drives me to continue doing so.
Do you have interest in doing theater since you're based here in New York?
I would. I don't know why, even though growing up most of my training's in theater, why it intimidates me more now, now that I get older. But I love theater, and the whole idea of like the John Leguizamo thing, the one-man show, and doing different characters, and I grew up watching stuff like that, so that's always something that I've been interested in doing. But even being part of an ensemble or anything like that, I really respect someone that can get up and do it every single day, and do the same thing over and over again. Because in TV and film, a lot of times you don't. You do different projects here and there, and it's like, you meet people one day and you never talk to them again until you see them again on another set. But theater is definitely more of an actor's medium, so obviously I don't think I could say that I wouldn't love to do theater.
And now you've been at it for about 3 years now. What advice would you give to somebody who's just cutting their teeth here in New York?
I would say knowing that you're on a journey and it's not about the end result. Because when I was little, I would always think about being on set and making movies and making TV shows and stuff. And that's what I think about when I go to work, when I'm casting stuff, is that I'm living this dream right here, right now. It's not about, oh, am I going to be like Brad Pitt one day, or am I going to be an A-lister? It's not about that. It's about, for me, it's about consistently getting work. And at the beginning, you're not always going to get work. And you go into an audition room and you want them to like you and you want them to pick you, but at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about them. It's about their project, and you might not be right. I've gone in so many auditions for the same casting director and haven't gotten it, but they keep calling me back to see if I fit for something, and the fact that they keep calling is something that I never thought about until it actually happened. You're told you either got it or you don't. And that's not necessarily true. I mean, for newcomers, I feel like stick with it, and the more you put in, the more you're going to get. I mean, at the end of the day, you reap what you sow. So if you're working, going to auditions, submitting yourself, I haven't had an agent since I moved here, and I've just submitted myself for everything that I could, and persistence and practice and preparation and all of that really, really goes a long way.
Well, for someone who's a relative newcomer yourself, you certainly have a great attitude, and anyone watching this will see that come across. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Thank you. I appreciate it.